Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Kimberly Nichole, and happy Black Music Month. As a daughter of rock and roll, a genre of music created out of the experience of my Black American forefathers and foremothers, it's only befitting that I take this opportunity to pay homage to and speak the names of the innovators, creators, and architects of this great genre. And now, before your favorite Brit was prancing around stages getting no satisfaction, there was Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the godmother of rock and roll, the first rock star, and the pioneer of the electric guitar. Rosetta Tharpe was born Rosetta Newman in Cotton Plant, Arkansas, March 20th, 1915. Her father was a singer, and her mother was a traveling evangelist for the Church of God in Christ. Rosetta taught herself the guitar and mastered the instrument at the age of 6. She traveled with her mother and performed before her sermon, which helped hone her skills as a vocalist, instrumentalist, and a performer. They eventually relocated to Chicago, where Rosetta was introduced to the blues through Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, and Robert Johnson, and so many others. This helped create and hone and shape her sound of combining the sacred music of the Black American church with the secular music of the blues. She eventually ended up in New York City, where she performed at places like the Cotton Club. This catapulted her into gospel superstardom. Her first crossover hit was Rock Me, where the 16-bar introduction revolutionized guitar playing, influencing generations of players, some players that would eventually go on to be greats themselves. No one could play the guitar like Rosetta Tharpe, and she proclaimed this proudly. She spread her unique sounds all over the world, from the 1930s at places like Carnegie Hall in New York City to the 1960s across the pond in Manchester, England for Europe's American Folk Blues Festival. This is a very important, iconic performance in music history because it was aired all over British airwaves, and it influenced the British blues scene, which ultimately gave birth to the British invasion. Okay? Now, here's a story that I really love about how much of a rock star Rosetta Tharpe was. In 1951, she married her third husband, and she wanted it to be open to the public because she wanted it to be an epic affair. She sold 20,000 tickets, and people gathered at Griffith Stadium, which is now the site of Howard University's hospital in Washington, D.C. After the ceremony, Rosetta Tharpe played an epic concert with her band. That was ultimately released on an LP. Little Richard, the actual king of rock and roll, once said that she was his greatest influence and gave him his first performance on stage. Fellow rock architect Chuck Berry said his entire career was one long impersonation of Rosetta Tharpe. So, the next time you find yourself howling and squalling the praises of rock gods like Jeff Beck, Keith Richards, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, Tina Turner, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and plenty more motherfuckers I ain't got time to name. Remember, they were all influenced by the genius of Black queer woman, happy Friday, by the name of Sister Rosetta Tharpe. All hail.